Everybody to the official Gary Pickleface Loomian Legacy PvP tier list. We will be ranking every final evolution and maybe if I feel like it middle evolution. So anyway, let's get started. First we have Valkyrie. Valkyrie is heavily underused. It gets great move, great stab, all that, easy A+. It's not S because I think it does have some weaknesses in the meta. Waka Laka, C, or I don't see it being used that much this meta, mainly because not everyone can easily get a Waka Laka, like the perfect nature and the personality. So I'm not expecting anyone to use this. Also, it doesn't have great move pull and it has a lot of weaknesses. So yeah, Vesp I would put easy A+. The amount of usage of you know, the new Loomians that are being used a lot more, like Ursol and um, other stuff. It's really good to have this meta. Himber, I would put in top tier. Himber is heavily underused. It should be used way more often. I have no idea why people don't use it. It counters a lot of things this meta, and it hits really hard. Um, then we have Dusket. Dusket I'd put with Waka Laka, same thing. There's not much use for this meta, you know. Ikazune I have to put in A+. The thing that's holding it back is its weaknesses and its horrible defense. But other than that, this thing can hit like a monster. I would definitely use this in PvP. Um, Protogon is definitely an S tier. Even though I don't use it, it's still really good to have. It helps defeat a lot of things this meta, like water types. So yeah. Next we have Mutagon. Mutagon is also an S no matter what ability you use. This thing can tank anything and then it hits hard on anything. It's really good to have. Um, Metronet I put in C+. Basically like Dusket, except for I think its stats are better. Zulong easy S tier. It counters a lot of good things this meta. Like Protogon, Garlash, the big boy things that you need. Um, Umbrat, I'd put. Oh, this is hard. With the amount of usage of Vesp, I have to put it in C tier, mainly because this thing gets bodied by Vesp. But it's okay. It doesn't really have a purpose this meta, considering there's way better dark types to use like Vesp or Ursol. Luxor, well, um, yeah, uh, yeah, I think we all know where it was going with that. Luxor's never gonna be that useful until it gets Fire Breath. Even then, it'll probably be better stats. Eclipse, easy, top tier. You see everyone using it. It's the best thing this meta. Everyone uses it. It has 3 immunities and one and then a few resistances. It hits like a monster, and its defensive variant is really good. Cinemoth I'd put in B. Magnify definitely helped it, but it's still frail as frick, so can't really hit that hard. Um, Avitross. AV again. In this meta, it's not the best. With the amount of Zulong going around, I'm gonna have to put it in C tier. C plus, I mean. But, yeah. Swolder. Swolder, I think I'd comfortably put it in an A tier. It's not quite S or A plus because all it does is just sit there, poison everything. But with the amount of usage of um, water types and stuff, this thing can really tank them and counter them. Next is Florent. Florent, It's just the worst smolder, let's be honest. I mean, I don't think it's down here because it can still do things, but I don't think it's that good. Terrafly, I think, is very underused. I'm putting it in A minus. It sets up barbs, and that's about it. But it's a good barb setter, and it can do damage to things like Malamurk, which is nice. Next is Seer Knight. Yeah, Seer Knight. I think it's heavily underrated this meta. Everyone says it's the worst starter, but they overlook the fact that this thing can defeat plenty of good things this meta, like Protogon, Eclipse, Stratasaur. Like, those are some of the most used, and it can easily get them. Ragoon. Again, there's just better dark types. Actually, I'm going to put it here. Actually, I'm putting it here just because of Burglar. If it didn't have Burglar, this thing would be down here. But that's about it. I mean, there's just better dark types to use. Boar, I'd comfortably put it in A minus. There's just a lot of water types going around, so Boar does, like, it's okay, I mean. Again, I think there would be better earth types to use other than Boar, so yeah. Eliguana, this is a hard one. I'm going to put it in B plus, because here's the thing. It's so even with everything. Like, it counters, I mean, it checks stuff, but then it also gets walled by stuff. Like, it's really hard to explain this thing. But basically, it can hit water types very hard, but it gets hit hard by those water types. But this thing is a good counter to Zoo, I will give it that, and Zoo is one of the most used this meta, so. Next we have Gas Stroke. I don't think I think it goes here. Let's be honest, it can't do much with its horrible melee defense. I mean, if you defeat every melee attacker, this thing could do stuff, but there's not much usage. A worse Gas Stroke, and Gas Stroke isn't even that good. That's my thoughts on WikiWiki. Chartiki, I don't understand why not many people use it. It's actually a monster in PvP. Like, it counters, like, a bunch of water types. It can help defeat Protogon, and it defeats a lot of things here. What's next? Shashi. Well, its Pyro update did do stuff. I don't think it can go any higher than this. It's just so hard to swap into things with Shashi because it's so frail. I mean, I guess if you get it in a good position, then it'd be good to use, but other than that, it's not the best thing. Sedimars. Again, like, it's a better Boar, in my opinion. That's all it is. It just tanks better than Boar. That's it, really. Ventation, this thing's getting Battering Ram. It won't do as much as Garb, but still, it will hit hard. I think I'd put it in the same tier as SETI. Ursol. I keep talking about it because it's a really good Loomian this update. I mean, it can hit hard. And this offensive thing is a behemoth. Next is Rev. I mean, again, there's just better things to use than Revenine. Like, there's way better fire types to use than Revenine, like Chartiki. Next we have Eruptodon. Again, I mean, it's getting a new move next patch, but I forget what it is, to be honest. But still, I mean, gets bodied by a bunch of water types, which is sad because there's so many water types in this game. So I'm gonna have to put it in C+. Volkloa. Volk is really underappreciated this meta. It gets Brawn boost. which really helps it, and then it gets really good moves. Um, I'm gonna put it in S plus. It can really hit hard. It's a good late game sweeper. It's gotta say. Krakaloa, it's a better Eruptodon, but I prefer Volkloa. I mean, it can get here. I mean, makes sense. These three are like the amigos. Um, what's next? Opsy. This thing will probably be good forever. I mean, let's be honest. Opsy is a monster. In PvP, it can tank every single melee hit it gets. Uh, Lumi, it's not good as it once was, but I still think it's okay. Its melee variant's way better. I'm gonna have to put it in. Let's see. Oof, this is hard. Uh, Here. I mean, I just don't think it's good enough. Next is Bull. Uh, I don't know much about Bull except for this thing hits like a monster again. I put it here. I can feel like it would. It's really good. Mewtwo, it goes with Bull. They're both very good, typeless attackers. I definitely I don't recommend using them though because I hate these things. Gobademic, this thing is just annoying. Puts everything to sleep, but it really it's really good. Icy Ghoul, I mean, Himber's better, but I still think this thing is good. B plus mainly because its ability is garbage and it doesn't hit hard. It just sits there and sets up stuff, which is not my type of style. Pharaoh, I mean, with all these things going around, Pharaoh I can put in a B. I mean, um, Garb is an easy S tier. This thing is a monster in PvP. Like, everywhere you go, you will see one of these. It's like this and Declips are like the two things you'll see everywhere. Stratasaur, I mean, I know a lot of people think it's really good, but I don't think it's like top tier amazing. I think I'd comfortably be in A plus tier. Um, what's next? Cyborg. Even with its new moves, it won't be that insanely broken. I'll put it in a B. That suits it right. Tyrex. This thing, its usage is to help beat Zulong, but it also can hit a lot of things here hard. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Munch Wheel. Rev Wheel I tried and it's fine. I mean, I put it in A. It's not the worst thing ever. Alright, Guardrone, this thing hits like a monster. I'm not gonna put it in S tier, mainly because of how frail it is for melee. Even if it has clutch, it still isn't like top tier in my opinion, but A plus is a really good. This thing hits hard. Next we have Hunder. I mean, I think it's like Guardrone in a sense where it just hits hard with a bunch of different elemental moves. Terra Claw, this thing requires no skill. Literally, this is the no skill Loomian. All you have to do is like, very clever health amulet. Spam, spam, spam. I'm so good. No, you're not. Just for that, I'm putting it an A plus. This thing literally is like the no skill Loomian. Even though I think these are the best, this thing probably is the easiest to use because it requires no skill. Tatab is easily the worst starter. It gets horrible stab. Its only good move is Jungle Jutsu. Jamie needs to give it good plant stab, but he won't because he hates Tatab for some reason. Because he doesn't want to give the offense something good. The thing that will help defeat some stall Loomians up here. Well, not stall, but like defensive. Infernix, oh my god, this thing is a monster in PvP. Although it does get kind of bodied by some things up here, I still think it's a comfortable A+. What's next? Drogo. It's a better Terrafly. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, it sits comfortably there. What's next? Malamar. Oh my god, it's the other no-skill Loomian. Hey, I saw someone use Star with, and this is how they did it. Max M defense, Opsy, and then just swap into Max R defense, Malamar. That's the new strat. No way. The new strategy for all you epic stallers out there, even though stallers are the worst players. No way. Next is Metatode. This thing, specialization is just funny. Here's the thing about specialization though, you can't hit Vesp at all. But, I'm gonna put it here just because of how weak it is to some things. Blowtox, I feel like this thing can easily be here. I mean, it is really good, but its stats aren't the best. Cephalops. Cephalops is an S tier. This thing can easily beat a lot of things. That's why you see it everywhere. Garlash, the water type Hunter, goes right here since it's the water type Hunter. Arapago, once it gets Dark Surge, I'm telling you, will be really good. But for now, I'm going to put it in B-. What's next? Skellic. There's just better water types to use. I mean, C is perfect for it. Joltooth. This thing with Thunderclap just sweeps. But, I'm going to put it in A because it is frail to a lot of things, though. Festifer, again, like Wakalaka, there's not going to be many people using it, but I think it just gets better moves and better defense, even though it's has like the worst typing defense. What's next? Wobblisk. This thing is underappreciated. This thing hits like a tank. It can actually hit really hard to things with its new stat buff. Deldrux. I put it. It's like Cinnamoth to me. It's like a water version of Cinnamoth. Colossotrops. Colossotrops, I think, sits comfortably at an A+. The thing holding it back again is how weak it is to a lot of things. Like, you can't send it in on everything. But yeah, this is the official tier list. You have to have this opinion. If you don't, you're bad. And I'll see you guys later.